For today's lesson, you're going to need your February activities packet, and we are going to be turning to this page right here that has our scholastic news about our first president. And what I did is I just gently tore it off. It's okay if you rip it just a little bit so that you can read it with me. And then we can flip over this page right here, because after I read this with you today, we're going to be completing an activity called If I Were President. So the reason why we're doing this is because on Monday we celebrated President's Day, and President's Day is a day to honor everyone who has served as our president in the United States of America. So I found this scholastic news all about our very first president. And I figured there might be some hard words or things that might be a little bit harder for you guys to read in this one. So I thought I could read it along with you. So pause this video, get out your Scholastic News magazine so that you can point and read along with me. So some of you might recognize this picture. This is our first president, and his name was George Washington. That's a picture of him. And if you want, you can practice writing your first and last name down here as well. You can never practice that enough. Then you can open up your magazine. And I accidentally tore a little bit of this off, but it says, how was George a great leader? So how was he a great leader? It says, a great leader helps others. So we're going to be reading every single one of these boxes has a heading. Remember, the heading is the big, bold title underneath a paragraph or a set of words. And each one of these boxes is going to tell us what a great leader does. So this one says, a great leader helps others. Long ago, America was at war with England. George was in charge of the American army. This is where I am right here. Many of the soldiers were hungry and cold. George got more food and clothes for them. He saved many of their lives. They trusted George. He told them what to do in battle. America won the war. So not only was he the president, but he served in the army, and he was in charge of the American army and helped us gain our independence. Of course, he didn't do that by himself, though. A lot of other people had to help him. They had to work as a team together in order to become free. A great leader listens. So point to that heading, a great leader listens. We talk about that all the time, about how being a good student, we have to be good listeners. Being a good friend, we have to be a good listeners. We can't talk all the time. We have to let other people talk too, so we can get to know them, get to know their ideas, and learn from them. George became our first president. It was a very hard job. He picked a few people to help him. Now I'm going to read this paragraph. These helpers sometimes did not agree with each other. They would get angry. So they're kind of talking about their ideas, and some of them would disagree with each other. That means they did not believe the same thing. George did not get angry. Instead, he was patient. He listened to all his helpers. Then he chose what was best for the country. So as the president, you have to be a good listener, and you have to be really patient. Now, nobody's perfect, so I'm sure he made mistakes along the way, because everybody does that. but this is talking about how he tried to be a good listener, he tried to be patient. A great leader sets a great example. Ooh, I love this. I talk about that word integrity a lot. Doing the right thing even when no one's watching. Also doing the right thing when people are watching, because people might look up to you, or they might look to you and follow what you're doing, so you want to make sure that you're doing the right thing. George was president for 4 years. The people elected him again. He was president for 4 more years. After that, people wanted to elect him a 3rd time. George said no. It was someone else's turn. He said he was a president, not a king. A king rules for life. George set a great example for the leaders after him. So he said, you know what? Somebody else can be the leader of the country. I don't need to be the leader of the country forever. He wanted to share that leadership role. So it says 2 great presidents. You're going to read about George Washington, who was our first president, and Abraham Lincoln. He sometimes had the nickname Abe Lincoln, who was our 16th president. So you can read these little facts on the back, and then there's a little quiz for you to do as a little extra fun. Once you finish that, you can put that to the side and take out this page. You're going to draw a picture of you pretending like you are the president. And it says, if I were president, I would. So what would you do if you were president? Remember, we kind of talked about some good leadership skills that presidents have to do. They have to help others, be great listeners, be a good example. And then this morning during our morning meeting, we also read our book, P is for President, and we talked about all the roles that a president has. So I want you to think about that, and then I want you to tell me what you would do if you were president.